Yes. Yeah. Well, and the worst part is, again, credit doesn't fix itself overnight, right? So, as I mentioned, when a client would come to me at that 5.5 month, and their credit was in the garbage, right? And they need to be out in 30 days of this loan. It's not happening. It's not happening. And they're freaking out because it's not happening.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Cody Crabb with Investor Fuel, and joining me today is Elizabeth Sdoucos from Starting Now Corporation. She comes from the lending world with over 25 years of experience around mortgages and credit and financial readiness. We're going to talk about a topic that a lot of investors don't really want to think too much about until it's too late, which is how your credit profile and your financing can actually maybe make or break a deal. So that maybe one of the most important things we could talk about. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us today on the show.
So excited because this falls in line with everything we do today.
Great. Perfect. Well, yeah, our audience is going to love this one. So for people that are meeting you for the first time, how did you get into the magical world of real estate, much less in the financing side? It's not your typical one path straight to that. It's not in the career fair in elementary school. So curious how you got there.
Yeah. Well, I'm first generation. So, buying a house is something that at least many individuals that come here from a different country, it's important, right? It's that American dream. So I bought my first home. I was 21 years old. It was an investment, right? And so I like to say I'm an investor. I've made big mistakes. I've made great accomplishments, but I've learned throughout my journey. And one of the things that actually drove me into the mortgage industry was I had a client that was a mortgage broker, correspondent lender. And as a consultant, I was always curious how this worked because, again, I bought my first home. I didn't know what I was signing. I was signing all these documents. I had no idea what it was, right? I mean, you're signing your life away. And it just drove me to learn more, right? And start investing more. And my passion was always to help investors. Those were the loans I loved. So as a mortgage broker myself, that's where I focused. A good portion of my time is helping investors because it was complicated, right? If you had 3 properties, 4 properties, 5 properties, how do you get a loan on top of it? And then the hardest part was if they had bridge loans, right? They had a certain time frame you had to get out, or you're paying wazoo of an interest rate, which would cut your profits off. So I understood that, right? Got me excited. It made me more involved. But the problem that I faced back in the early 2000, and I'm aging myself a little bit, but early 2000, 2005, 2006, was that when people came to me with bad credit, I didn't know what to do, right? It wasn't as simple as, today what people say it's disputing. Well, that doesn't work. Okay. Everyone here, if you're listening, dispute just to dispute does not work. It doesn't help solve the problem. So then my next passion to help my investors, right, the clients that came to me, was to get involved more in credit. And it's its own industry, its own way of thinking. And here we are quite a few years later, starting now as a non-for-profit organization. We're a HUD certified 501c3 that really has now the resources. And I say resources because, there's a lot of credit repair organizations out there that say they're going to do things and they don't have the resources. I know that they don't. We do, to really help a consumer, an investor, understand how to improve their credit profile and get out of the bridge loan or get out of the situation they're in so that they can, go to the next property that they want to purchase.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Gotcha. So, you've mentioned that. I mean, you said you've been in the industry and whatnot since all the way through the dreaded 2008. And everyone, that kind of comes up a lot on the podcast, as you might imagine. So since then, I'm curious, what have you learned? What did you learn kind of around that time? What was something that you learned, and then kind of since then, what has changed? I mean, obviously a lot's changed. A lot
Yeah.
has changed since then. But just I'm curious if there's something that really sticks out.
From that time, it was a little bit of the wild, wild west. Everyone was getting involved in mortgages and real estate. And I mean, things that you hear about the different programs that were around. Yeah, it was happening. A no doc program. I mean, people were getting loans with a no doc program. So, I think we've learned from that. I mean, we do have now non-QM deals. But what I also realized, specific again in my industry now that I'm at, people still to this day don't understand how credit affects you. And it's just getting more complicated. Let me explain why. Back then, we had just resources, the internet, you would search, but people, it wasn't so much about credit repair because a score, all of that was still pretty new, right? In a sense of how did it work? No one really understood the complexity of how it worked. It would always be, and that's why I found it so interesting. It was like the secret sauce. Oh, I have the secret sauce to help you with your credit. BS, right? There's no secret sauce in helping you improve your credit score.
Well, and
There
not
is
to interrupt you, but just so people know, like the concept of credit scores was introduced in almost the 90s.
yes.
Like the late 80s. So like this is not something. So when we put this in terms of like these are barely 10 years old at this point. Like
Yeah,
people
I'm
are
telling you,
just starting to figure it out.
well, that's the thing. That's why when people would come to me and I'm like, I have all these investors that need your help, but they would say, oh, we have this secret sauce. Don't tell me as an investor, I don't want to know a secret sauce. I want to know the facts because I have a lot of money riding on this deal.
Yeah.
Don't give me that crap. Excuse my friend. Like, I don't want to hear that. I mean,
Yeah.
so when people would come to me and say, oh, I have the secret sauce, I'm like, listen, I don't want to do this work. Let me be honest with you, but I need to feel confident you're going to take care of my people, right? And no one could explain to me how it worked. So then, of course, as a consultant, my mind was like, well, I'm going to figure this shit out. Excuse my French. I'm going
No,
to
you're
figure it
good.
out because I want to make sure that however someone gets from point A to point B, they have clear directions. And again, as an investor, you want to make those decisions. A problem I faced is that people would not give me those options. They would say, this is the route, this is the route, this is the route. It might not be the route, right? Good deal for someone else, but it might not be a good deal for you, right? And credit plays, again, an important role. Right now, if you don't have like a 740 plus, you're not playing in that great interest rate, okay? So we have to be realistic and understand. So when people came to me, it was a secret sauce come to find out, it's not a secret sauce. It's black and white in my world at this point, right? But then what makes it even more confusing now is that there's two different scoring models. People, social media, our phones are telling us what to do. Someone has 50,000 views on what is credit, and they are a great actor, but the information they're presenting is so wrong. It's so wrong that it makes it really complicated now,
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Well, and so, okay, I would love to get into, so a lot of our audience, I mean, they're real estate investors, but a lot of them are kind of on the early side. They're starting to get into it. So kind of applying this to an investor mindset, this can get really expensive really fast. So what are some common credit or financing mistakes that you see investors making?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Again, not understanding where they are. Right now, a lot of us go to Credit Karma, right? Or a free tool. I'm not saying it's bad. It is a great educational tool. But as I mentioned, lenders today use what's called a FICO score. A FICO score, there's three different versions. I'm going to give you a quick tip on all of this, right?
This is
There's
great.
three
Yeah.
different versions. There's version 2, 4, and 5. Okay. Besides that, they're now moving into a new version called FICO 10T. But besides that, a new scoring model is coming into play called Vantage Score. That's the scoring model that you see on Credit Karma, but it's another version of that, right? So hear me out. I just talked about 5 different versions, right? Which one are you picking?
I'm
Chances, yeah,
literally clueless. Yeah, I have
yeah,
no idea.
exactly.
Whichever one's
So
easiest to get onto, probably.
well, the problem is whichever one you're picking, that's not the same one that the lender probably is pulling. So you're
Interesting.
going in and you're thinking you have a 680 score. The lender pulls a 660 score because you don't even know what you're looking at because the scoring models are different. Right? So that's what I'm saying. Things are so much they're so confusing at this point because of all of the resources and no one's coming out saying, well, we're trying to come out. That's why we're here today saying, look, there is a way forward. There's a way of getting the right information that can be very impactful for you.
Yeah, so I think that's really helpful for people to know. Like having that in mind, it is a little more complex behind the scenes than I think people realize. So having that in mind is like I think it's really important.
Well, it's also important because a lot of loan officers don't realize why there's a difference. They're just like, oh, that's an educational tool. That's not my scoring model, right? No, there is a use for that, but it's not a mortgage FICO score compared to what they use, right? And you can get it. You could call us. We could give you a true FICO score. Again, as a nonprofit, I have those resources, right? So I'm able to actually pull your information, assess where you're at, and more or less tell you exactly what's going on so that you're a smart buyer, right? You're a smart investor. And that's the game plan. Like those that understand this, those that know what's going on, even from a credit score perspective, are more advanced in a way of getting the better product.
Yeah, so a couple questions come to mind because we're talking about credit. This is a personal one that I just thought of. I've heard that like there is a huge number of credit reports that have errors on them, like a staggering percentage. I want to say it was like 20% I read have some
Yeah.
kind of error on it.
Yeah.
What do you
Actually
suggest for
more.
people to, what was that?
Actually more, almost 80%, right?
80%.
Have errors, right? It could be your name, it could be your address, it could be employment. Like there is a lot of information that's incorrect, which could potentially have a negative impact on your credit score.
Yeah. So my question is, so first of all, what do we do about that? Because I know that it affects a massive number of people.
Yeah. So there is a free tool where you could just get the information, and that's annualcreditreport.com. Okay. Annualcreditreport.com. You could pull all three bureaus. You don't have to take part in their paid subscription, right? Just pull your report, just assess all the information. And then from there, you can take steps to either dispute it yourself, whatever it is, if you don't even know, because there's like different line items, you don't know the reason codes, you don't understand what that means. Talk to a professional that's not going to sell you, but actually going to go over the information with you and give you that necessary guidance so that you at least feel confident in what steps you need to take.
Hmm. Okay, well,
Simple
yeah,
as that.
that's helpful because I when I first heard that, see, maybe I was even hearing I was hearing the opposite number, so maybe
Yeah.
that's even crazier that it's 80%. So like, I think everybody, if you haven't looked at that, it's probably kind of dumb not to at this point.
Well,
With
and
that,
look,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
if you're a young investor with not a lot of credit, it's not that complicated. But if you had a lot of credit and you've had your ups and downs, right? And it becomes more difficult. And for me, credit tells a story, right? I could look at one's credit report and I could know when you had your ups and downs. I could see it. There is a story behind every credit report. I get excited because I know the path forward. Others, when you look at it, it's very overwhelming, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. So my best advice is talk to someone who's willing to sit and actually go over that with you and give you an understanding, because and not selling you, right? Because that's the worst part, because all of a sudden you're getting emotional, your credit's not where it's at, and all of a sudden they're selling you stuff. It's just giving you that information so that you can make the best decision for yourself.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so before we started, we were chatting a little bit before, uh, and you mentioned bridge loans and how people can kind of get in trouble with this. I'd love for you to kind of go over that and maybe a little explainy, like not overly explainy, but we got a lot of newer investors on here. I'd love to kind of give them a break and explain what's going on.
So, I mean, I'm just talking from my past experience, right? I used to have investors that would come to me, and they would come to me at month 5.5, needing to refinance in less than, 2 weeks, because they were in a bridge loan. And we all know bridge loans, it's a short period of time. The interest rates are high. And if you don't get out of them in that time period, the investment that you think you're going to make is not very nice, right? It's not as nourishing as if you did refinance and got into a normal type of loan, or whatever type of loan you have been looking at. So my advice, or what I've seen, is when people come to me when I was doing loans, when they would come to me that late, it wouldn't allow us enough time to actually structure them and get them out of that bridge loan. And all of a sudden, they're panicking because they're starting to pay double digits on this bridge loan, and all of their profits are being eaten up. So I would highly, highly, highly suggest, if you're looking to get a bridge loan, know where you're going to be in about 6 months. Already start planning it out. Start talking to your loan officer. If your credit is not where it's supposed to be, call us, right? Call whoever. But I mean, as a credit expert, that was the key component that was missing. That's why I got so involved in credit, because no one could explain to me, how do I help this client get out of this crappy situation, because they're losing a ton of money. So that's so important, and I can't stress it, because 6 months, we all know you're doing rehab, you're doing whatever you're doing as an investor, right? Whatever that path is will go by extremely fast. And in the past, I was able to get loans done very quickly. Today, that process, especially for investors, is not that quick. And maybe it is if you have everything lined up. But again, it's planning. You need to plan when you're looking to buy and get out of a situation pretty quickly.
So what I'm hearing is the real mistake isn't just like credit. It's like waiting way too long to deal with it, and then your options shrink to like this, and then it's rushed, and then you can't do anything. So that's really, I mean, that's a pretty good life advice in general. Like, just don't wait
Yeah.
too long to deal with it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it sounds
we
like
always
credit can
think it's
just
going to
be
be easy.
a huge timing and planning issue as much as
Yeah.
credit itself.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and the worst part is, again, credit doesn't fix itself overnight, right? So, as I mentioned, when a client would come to me at that 5.5 month, and their credit was in the garbage, right? And they need to be out in 30 days of this loan. It's not happening. It's not happening. And they're freaking out because it's not happening. And I'm like, you came to me right now. I'm not a credit expert, right? What am I supposed to do for you? And I was matter of fact. That's why people liked working with me, because I was like, look, this is where we're at. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to move forward. With this situation, that's why if your credit, or something's on your report, or that's why you got a bridge loan, because you couldn't get a normal loan or a conventional loan, whatever, again, that path is, you need to start working on it right away.
Gotcha. So, okay. So if someone's listening to this and they want to avoid these credit hiccups and the bridge loan problems and all the things we've talked about, what are the top, like, couple of 2 or 3 things that they should, like, be on top of or start doing now if they haven't already?
As I said, pull your credit report,
That's
right?
an
Pull
easy
it for
one. Yeah.
free. Easy, right? And if you want to go through it again, you could reach out to us. We could go into the detailed information about it. That's number one. Number two, also be thinking about your exit, right? 6 months is not a lot of time when you're purchasing, and then if you have to rehab or whatever you're planning. 6 months for a bridge loan is not enough. It's not a lot of time. So you have to be planning, and just have, once you have that team, I always like to say, as an investor, it's always nice to have that reliable team, right? Where you could call your loan officer, you could call your credit expert, you could call, your realtor, whatever, that team, because all of a sudden, if you have a good deal, you know who to call, and you feel confident their advice is correct, or at least they will say, I don't know, but give me 24 hours and I'll get back to you, right?
Yeah.
Because
You trust
having
them
a
to find out.
team, oh man, I mean, you have that support, and that's what allows you to purchase and invest. I mean, I have that team now, right? I know if I'm looking at something, because I'm an investor too. So if I'm looking at something, I know who I call. I have my attorney, right, to talk about some legal perspectives. I have my loan person. What's the best rate? What's going on? What is something new, right? Obviously credit, but I even turn internally to my team to find out what else is going on. So I look at all options and always have my team available.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. Elizabeth, we're just about out of time, winding down at this point. But if people want to get in touch with you, who would be the ideal person to get in touch with you, and where can they get in touch with you?
Look, if you don't understand credit and you're really serious about investing, or you pulled your credit report and you think even if it's on Credit Karma and it's in the 600s or 700, you want to be at the top tier, give us a call. Everyone's our client. I don't care how much you make, what you're doing. Everyone who wants to improve their financial profile, because credit falls under that, is a potential client or a person that we want to talk to, because it is our mission to provide the right information to all consumers who just want to better their lives.
Fantastic. Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining us today. You've given us a lot of great information. You've scared me to death about my credit report. I will definitely be pulling it.
Pull it. Yes.
Yeah, nothing bad could happen just by checking it. So yeah, there you go.
No.
So appreciate all this advice, and thanks for joining us. And listeners, if you got something out of this episode, and I know you did, go ahead and hit subscribe and follow us for more episodes like this one. Thanks again for joining us, Elizabeth. And listeners, we'll catch you next time on Real Estate Pros.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.